Alright, before I start doing this review, I may as well explain, well, why I'm doing this review. Now, at the time of this voice recording, the Nintendo 3DS came out in Ireland a couple of days ago. It looks really good and all that, and I actually do want to get one, but there's one barrier the size of America that won't let me get it. The price. It's €270 in GameStop, I think, and it hasn't come into any of the Tesco's here so far. Although, to be fair, I've only checked up one Tesco and that's it. And I'm sort of considering of trading in my PSP. The trade-in price is €65, but that means it's still €205. So, now, I'll probably wait. There's not that much interesting 3DS launch games anyways. And no, I do not care for Street Fighter 4. Bug off. To be fair, the only one that actually does interest me is Rayman 3D, but since I have Rayman Revolution on the PlayStation 2 over there behind me, there really isn't that much point to it. So I thought I'd review my favorite PSP game, which is Daxter. Now, I've noticed that usually in platforming games, the sidekick usually gets his own platforming game, like Secret Agent Clank, Daxter, Tails Adventure, and Tails Sky Patrol, and the Game Gear Knuckles Chaotix on the 32X, which was going to be my next review incidentally, but I got stuck to the incredibly annoying boss in Amazing Arena, and I'm getting off topic again. I really must apologize for that, because it's been happening since the beginning of this channel, and this is like, what, the 23rd video I've made? Oh my god. Well, anyways, let's just get to the actual game, shall we? Now, Daxter is basically an integral between Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, and Jak 2 Renegade. At the beginning of Jak 2, we see that an elf thing named Jak, and also named Daxter, Samos the Green Sage, and his daughter Kira are about to open this rift gate and are sitting on this roller coaster thing, whatever it is. And when they open the rift gate, that thing comes through, whatever the flaming hell it is, and there's loads of bats too for some reason, I don't know. And they're scared shitless and decide to press millions and millions of buttons and go right through the gate, ended up being teleported 300 years into the future. Now, I should mention that Jak and Daxter are separated from Samos and Kira for the time being, so I'll just bring that up for some reason, I don't know. And when Jak and Daxter come out of one side of the gate into Haven City, Jak is captured almost immediately by Errol, captain of the Crimson Guard, and also, on another note, the main catalyst of what is considered by many to be the most annoying side mission in Jak 2 of all time. Daxter is allowed to escape, and he says that he'll rescue Jak. And nearly 2 years pass, and he's done nothing. Daxter has done nothing at all to rescue Jak. Instead, he just spends his days at the local pub telling people about how badass he is. But no one believes him, except an old man named Osmo, who actually saw Daxter a couple of years ago. Now, he wants to hire Daxter for the Critter Ritter Extermination Company, who have been getting a lot of work recently at getting rid of metal bugs, or basically that gigantic head, but it's compressed to the size of basically an Egyptian beetle. And Daxter does refuse, but the way he says it makes Osmo think that he accepts the job. And so, the end of the majority of the game shows exactly how he was able to rescue Jak. Well, okay, the last bit, fine. Now, the game's a good old 3D platformer. Been a while since I've reviewed one, hasn't it? The controls in the game are pretty simple considering it's a PSP. The X button is to jump, and of course there's a double jump ability, and I don't think I need to explain that. There are also two objects you get, a fly swatter and a gas thingy. The fly swatter is activated using the X button, and you can form a few combos with them. The gas thingy is activated by the circle button. Now, the gas thingy, whatever it is, has three modes of fire: gas, fire, and sonic boom. Gas just simply poisons enemies and knocks them out for a small amount of time. The flamethrower basically just sets them on fire, and can also activate certain levers. Sonic Boom is pretty much useless aside from the fact that it can offer projectiles, which is only needed at the last boss battle. Now I should mention that the gas thingy, when activated in the air, will also allow Jak Daxter to hover in the air for a short amount of time. The gas pretty much allows Daxter to float at the amount he did when he double jumped, while the flamethrower and Sonic Boom allow him to get a higher boost, which definitely helps, but you might miss out on some collectibles. Now, you won't be able to stay in the air forever, so you'll have to collect these gas bubbles things in order to stay in the air for a longer amount of time. The triangle button is also used to have Daxter go on all fours and crawl into small gaps, which is definitely useful. The L and R buttons are to move the camera around, and that's pretty much it. Your objective is very simple. Go to each level and usually go from point A to point B while killing as many metal bugs as you can. Now, there are two collectibles in the game: the metal head eye things, whatever they are, and the precursor orbs. The metal eyes, whatever they are, do pretty much nothing. You get no special abilities with them. That's where the precursor orbs come in. They're common around the level of the precursor orbs. There's usually about 30 to 70 of them per level, and for every 100 you get, you unlock a special ego dream. Basically, you go to Osmo's house and sit on a bed. I don't know if it's Osmo's or if it's meant for Daxter, but whatever. And Daxter falls asleep and gets a dream. These dreams are usually parodies of famous movies like The Matrix, Braveheart, Indiana Jones, or Lord of the Rings. And these usually are quick-time events. Basically, an enemy stands on a spot with X, you press X, they die, and it goes in a similar pattern of sorts. Now, these dreams are mainly useless, but they are pretty fun, and they do unlock extra things like extra combat abilities, or better yet, upgraded health, which is a great assistance considering that green eco boxes are very scarce. There's only about 6 ego dreams, and the rest you collect from there are usually like stuff like trailers, I'm assuming. I only got one so far, so I don't know. Now, even though this is my favorite game, I ain't afraid to admit that there's a fair bit of flaws. First off, the vehicle controls. It's not that good. Why? Well, it has possibly the stupidest flaw anyone could make when having to make vehicles in a game. You can't reverse. How stupid do you have to be to not think reverse should be in vehicles? I mean, every game that has a car in the universe has some sort of a reverse function, unless it's meant to be sort of a speed-based thing. I don't know, sort of like Outrun, I suppose. But whereas Outrun controls just fine, the vehicles in Daxter control like utter crap. Another thing I hate are the badly placed checkpoints that seem to be miles apart. What I mean is there could be an incredibly challenging obstacle of some sort, and when you just get near to the end and you cock up and die, you have to start from the beginning, which I know it's what you'd expect from a platform, but it's very, very annoying. Now, another thing I didn't like was the final level, mainly because it was sort of a stealth thing. I constantly kept getting seen by the guards, and whenever they shot me, it scared the living shite out of me. I can't explain how scary it is, to be honest. Well, I'll try. It's basically like playing Serious Sam, and then when you turn around, there's this gigantic scorpion thing chasing your ass, and you didn't see that 2 seconds ago. It's sort of like that, but it's an instant kill, you thank God. But the least favorite part of the game is this chase mission where Daxter is on a scooter thing of some sort, chasing a Crimson Guard van that has Jak in it. Now, what annoys me is two things. The first is that the vehicle seems to be throwing grenades and mines out for no apparent reason. I know that someone could defend it saying, "Oh, but Daxter's chasing them and they probably noticed." But what if they didn't notice? I mean, is that stuff just highly explosive or something? It bothers the crap out of me. And the second thing, which is very annoying, is that the mission ends only a few feet away from Osmo's house. I guess some bad MS Paint drawings will show what I'm going on about. Basically, you start from Osmo's house, and you follow the van around the whole district of wherever you are. And then you end back at Osmo's house and go to a dead end a few meters to the left of his house, which is just very pointless and stupid. I mean, what's the point of this? It just annoys everyone and how redundant it is. Well, at least it's not asking for that godforsaken meter thing where you can't be too close to them or too far apart. Damn you, Driver 3, for thinking that's a good idea. But thankfully, there are a lot of positives that get rid of this annoyingness. First off, am I the only one that really thinks Daxter should have more games? He's just a more likable hero than Jak. And also, this game shows that when he's on his own, he actually can be a true hero instead of being the coward he usually is. Which does make me wonder, what if the sequel, if they ever made one, was a lot larger in scale? That would definitely interest me to see how Daxter would react to those sort of things. Sure, he'd still be a bit cowardly, but, well, who knows? I mean, no one ever expected the furry romance in Sonic 06, so I guess anything's possible. Also, the graphics are very impressive for the PSP. It's actually like a PlayStation 2 game, which is pretty cool, and no loading times. Yay! Although to be fair, there is some frame rate slowdown, but I suppose that's understandable considering the console's handheld limitations. One of my favorite levels is actually the tanker level. Why? Well, it is pretty cool and all, but my favorite part are the trampolines that seem to send you into space. That's just so awesome. And like I said before, the Ego Dreams are pretty damn kick-ass. Sure, they're not all enjoyable, but for the most part they're fun, and getting a high score is pretty cool. Too bad there weren't more of them. Oh well. I guess we'll have to wait for the sequel to see will there be any Inception parodies. Oh wait, one more thing. Thumbs up if you want to see a Batman Begins or Dark Knight Ego Dream in the Daxter 2 sequel, whatever. The music in this game is also pretty good. It's a lot different from the previous one, and it's just pretty good music. But there's one thing I have to ask. Am I the only one that thinks the Baron's Palace theme sounds a little bit like Sticker Brush Symphony in Donkey Kong Country 2? Oh yeah, and the combat is pretty satisfying. Oh my god, I love squishing bugs, it's just satisfying as all hell. And I love collecting that last precursor orb so I can get another Ego Dream. Hooray! And the platforming is pretty good as well. I mean, sure, it's not revolutionary, but it is pretty damn fun. And there's not that much platforms on the PSP, but it's still pretty damn good. Daxter is a frigging awesome game. The graphics are amazing. It's a pretty funny game. The levels are fun. Ego Dreams are awesome, and the combat, collecting, and platforming is very satisfying. However, there are stupid things like horrible vehicle controls, that damn chase mission, badly placed checkpoints, and those goddamn guards in the last level. Also, am I the only one who actually would want more games based on the character's sidekicks? I mean, they've all had interesting games. It'd be very, very interesting. So, who knows? And the game's definitely worth 3 times what I bought it for, and that was €5, so I'd happily buy it for €15, maybe even €25. Way! Now, when I look at it, I'm gonna give this game a week Last of the Summer Wine, which means very enjoyable. It's not incredibly enjoyable, but very is still pretty damn good. If there were more levels and less frustrating shite, it'd definitely get a solid Last of the Summer Wine, but for now, it's only a week. Now, I'm Jim, and if you'll excuse me, I'm off to Sega HQ to get a 3D platformer game starring Tails. I'm off! Ah!